Oh, fuckety fucks. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Moaning on a Friday. Wasn't going to do this, but thought, fuck it. Let's just quickly do it. I see Jill Taylor. It's your birthday. Apologies. I had the most ghastly day yesterday, possibly the worst in about 5 years for a whole range of reasons. So let me get to a better place, Jill. I've seen it. I know it was your birthday on Wednesday, and I will sing you happy birthday towards the end. Good morning, everyone. How is everyone? How are you all? Are you feeling better than me? I hope you are. Wow, what a week, what a day, what a weekend. It's beautiful weather here, which I fucking hate, if I'm really honest. I'm just going to be brutally honest. I don't want nice weather today. I want it all to go away. Don't mock us. Be gone. Thank you. I'd like to say thank you for your continued messages that are coming in under our How to Stay Married so far. Very sweet, very kind, very thoughtful, very meaningful, very detailed, and really comforting and healing. So thank you. Morning, Elliot. Morning, James. Morning, Margaret. For those of you who've also kind of got the DM situation going on here, you know in a little bit more intimate detail what's been happening over the last 24 hours. So yeah, so let's focus on the news. Let's focus on the news. It's Friday, and yeah, feeling so emotional, been so upset. What's that, Ray Crew? What day aren't we emotional? I'm not dismissing it, but what day aren't we emotional about it, Ray? There's no day, there's no minute, there's no scintilla of hope. There's no fraction of a day where one isn't upset, deeply distressed and upset. And yes, upset by what's happening in Gaza, but even more petrified by the lack of action elsewhere. Oh my God, how many birthdays have we got? I don't know if I'm going to remember you all. Louise, Jill, Alison. Well, okay, let me make a note. Louise, Jill, and Alison. I'll do you all at the end if I can remember. I can't promise to do everyone though. Jill, Louise. Who else did I say? Alison. Is it all of your birthdays today? Good God. Wow. Happy birthday, Alison Fisher. Happy birthday, Louise. I don't know which Louise is it. Louise Cooper. And happy birthday to Jill Taylor. I'm saying it for you now. It's my 40th birthday today, all of September. Nick W. It's your birthday too. Oh my God, I literally can't do that many birthdays. Happy birthday to all of you. I've said happy birthday, Nick W. Happy birthday to Louise. Happy birthday to Alison. And a happy birthday to Jill Taylor. Hope you have a lovely day. Good God, what's everyone up to 9 months before this day? Okay. Back in the room. A lot of Virgos in the room. My first girlfriend was a Virgo. She was very neat. Are you neat? Are our Virgoans neat? Louise, are you neat? Alison, Jill, are you neat? Are you all neat freaks? Scorpions are just like loyal or bad enemies. Christmas. Oh, it's going on at Christmas, is it? Ah, that explains a lot. A little bit of festive hanky-panky. A little bit of nookie in the yeah, you know what I'm at. You know I'm going. Yeah, very neat. Jill Taylor, you're very neat. Happy birthday to you, Jill. Neat freak. Very ordered. Do you have like wall planners and diaries and lists? Oh, Ray Crew. I'm with you. I'm with you. What can we say? There are no words. There are no. Whenever I see someone say dates, yeah, I'm good with dates. I think I want a date. I want to eat a date. I don't want to go on a date. I'm married to one. I'm not married to a date. I'm married to someone. I'm a Libran, and I'm definitely not neat. No, Virgoan. I thought we were talking about Virgoans. Shakir Al-Bad. That take us to Libra. Aren't Librans balanced? Aren't you the scales? Yeah. Oh my God, Alison Fisher had a Filofax back in the day. So Filofaxes were kind of, I had a Filofax, but I got intimidated by how neat it was. Sonia Hart, happy belated birthday. Oh, let's just sit here and just say happy birthday, shall we? Fuck all the news. Let's fuck it over. My mum was a Scorpio, so Stephanie, what was she like? Was she dark and twisted? like most Scorpio. Really deep reservoirs of loyalty, but do not wrong us. Do not wrong. Taurian Fifi. Very stubborn. I had an ex who was Taurus. Oh, she was like a bull in a china shop. I'm not a Virgo, says Susanna Crockett, but I still have a Filofax. Ooh. Janina M, my birthday is always a bit of a non-event, 30th of December. Janina, I can trump you on that one. Our daughter's birthday is on Christmas Day. Imagine that. Everyone's more excited about a Palestinian man who was born on that day. My date trees seem to be flourishing. They're the size. You have a date tree, Fee? What, as in that grows dates that you eat? Or are you talking about a tree that has dates? Like, is that a thing? A date tree? Oh, let me have a sip of my coffee. You've already cheered me up. See, it was the right thing to do. And I don't know why I'm shouting. I do apologize if you're listening on podcast. I do apologize. And all the people I'm talking to, I'm not sat in a toilet talking to myself, though sometimes it feels like it. I'm talking to our community who are all in the room. Filofax. Does anyone remember there was the Filofax, but then there was the much smaller Filofax? Do you remember the tiny, the smaller Filofax that was for people who had even smaller writing and were even more focused on what they needed to do? Jill Taylor, this is all your fault. Oh, coffee's great when injected into your arm. It's true. Don't do it at home, guys. I'm not suggesting it. Good morning, Mark and everyone. Happy weekend. Marina O'Driscoll, happy weekend to you. Ticking all the T's, tocking all the dots, and slipping all the I's. I was born on St. Nicholas's Day. Isn't that Christmas? Which is why I'm called Nicole. Is that right, Nicole F? I didn't know there was a St. Nicholas's. I thought St. Nicholas was Santa Claus. I had a PDA too at some point. What? Too much public displays of affection? You had a hug or a kiss? Oh, Stephanie, how you feeling this Friday? Any feels? Make your own mind up, mate. Controversial, but I low-key hate my birthday, says May Edmondson. It's just a day. It's just a day in many days. Oh, God. Sorry, if you're listening on podcast, I just drank a coffee, and it was like drinking, I don't know, the juice you imagine that comes from the artery of a xenomorph alien. Yeah, it's quite vivid. Astrology, the biggest bullshit ever sold to man. Andrew Larrison in the room, just to piss on our parade. Thank you, Andrew. I've never stepped towards astrology until now, and you've just pushed me back. Okay. Donald Trump threatens the media. Yes, he's not a happy man. I don't like anyone who criticizes me. You criticize me, and I'm going to stop your channel. Donald Trump, very angry with everyone, wants to stop everyone having a laugh. I don't like laughter. No one except me. You can laugh at my jokes, but you can't laugh at my wee. We've got Donald Trump threatening the media. Benjamin Netanyahu, trigger warning for everyone. Benjamin Netanyahu, big warning to everyone. I am playing him. The personification of hell will be speaking in this live, and he has denied killing, or I mean, not literally. I mean, he obviously wasn't there, but he's denied this rumor that Israel is somehow culpable in the Charlie Kirk murder, but he's denied it a lot. And I'm not making light, and I'm not taking the piss or making fun, but sometimes, as we've discovered, comedy can get you into trouble. And guess what, guys? Donald Trump leaves the country. Keir Starmer, as soon as he's gone, goes, recognize Palestine. Oh, Donald's got, quick, guys, quick, recognize Palestine. Just do it, for God's sake, do it. Recognize Palestine. We've got to shut people up. I can't stand I can't, just do it. Just recognize Palestine, please. What does it mean to recognize Palestine? It means absolutely nothing, Donald. Do not worry. Doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't stop the genocide. Oh, sorry, there is no genocide. Doesn't stop the genocide. Doesn't stop you supporting Bibi Netanyahu. The world does. Miss Anne Harriman summed it up earlier this week. Let's give the world back to the birds and the plants. I don't think he said it quite so poetically, but hey, what would what mean, Ray Crew? Recognize it. What does recognizing Palestine mean? What does it mean, Starmer? Please, Donald, we're recognizing Palestine. I promise you. Donald Trump doesn't want you to recognize Palestine. Palestine isn't a place. It's just Hamas. Ooh, I fancy some bread with my Hamas. What does, honestly, tell me right now, what does it mean that we're going to recognize Palestine? Does it mean anything? Does it change children being eviscerated and spaghettified on the ground in Gaza and turned into soup? And I'm not being piss-taky there. This is the facts. Does it change mothers, fathers, siblings picking up their loved ones and carrying them in sacks, Starmer? No, it doesn't. The press conference did go well, MeTube, from a UK perspective, insofar as Donald Trump didn't humiliate and didn't embarrass Starmer. Starmer kept his gimp suit fully zipped up and just stayed still. So we're going to be talking about Trump. We're going to be tickling at the edges of what he's left here in the UK. Use the military. Why don't you use the military to just get rid of every single foreigner? Because that's what they did in Nazi Germany. You absolute buffoon. So Netanyahu goes on the full lady doth protest too much defensive. And guess what, guys? Guess what? Your party, which really confuses me when people say it, because as soon as I say your party, I bet you just went, I haven't got a party. Whenever I hear people go, your party, I go, why are you talking to me? It's not my party. It's our party. They should have called it our party, not your party. Your party is like shifting the buck. And that's basically what's happened with your party. They got hacked. Well, did they get hacked, May? Hacked or not hacked, Corbyn and Sultana are now at loggerheads. And your party, which was going to be our party, has gifted the mainstream right-wing leaning media an open goal for everyone to fire a ball. I don't even know what the ball is. Which ball are we shooting? Is it a soccer ball or is it an American football? To kick a ball into the goal. And so your party is already squabbling. So, thank you, Hilary Daly. And that is the word, isn't it? It's an English word. Don't squabble. They're squabbling. They're squabbling. Oh, okay. So fucking hell, where do we start? I wasn't going to do this live, and now I am, and now I'm here, and I'm with you. You've got me, and I'm not going anywhere. Let's start with. Let's go to the United Nations. Yeah, let's go to the United Nations, where a really supercilious American representative put her hand up and objected to, yet again, for the 6th time, the US vetoed a draft resolution at the United Nations Security Council that would have demanded an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza and release the hostages. But no. Morgan, what's her name? Morgan Ortegas. Morgan Ortegas says, no, we are Americans. We are therefore going to just do whatever Israel wants us to do. And this is how it played out. The 6th attempt to, get a ceasefire deal, stop the war. We're all pretending Netanyahu wants this to stop. He doesn't. But here's the moment.
Against. The draft resolution has not been adopted, owing to the negative vote of a permanent member of the Council.
The United States rejects this unacceptable resolution. It is beyond time that Hamas release every single hostage.
They've tried! They've tried to release every single hostage. Netanyahu doesn't want them. This is literally, we've got to a situation here where Hamas go, have the hostages. They've said it 6 times. Have the hostages. And Netanyahu goes, no, don't give me the hostages. I don't want the hostages. Don't let them touch. No, not near me. Don't pretend they didn't give us. Please. Ben-Gvir, tell them not to give us the hostages.
And surrender immediately.
They've offered to surrender. They have. Israeli negotiators have told us that they've offered. Carry on, Morgan.
To work with its partners to bring an end to this horrific conflict for the sake of the people of Gaza, who deserve a future free from Hamas. U.S. opposition to this resolution will come as no surprise. It fails to condemn Hamas or recognize Israel's right to defend itself, and it wrongly legitimizes the false narratives benefiting Hamas, which have sadly found currency in this council.
It comes as no surprise. You're absolutely right. It will come as no surprise that America has vetoed for the 6th time any possibility of the United Nations declaring an end to this conflict. When they've declared it, no one will do anything anyway. Who thinks Benjamin Netanyahu would, sign up to whatever the UN would say? The propaganda machine has already said. I mean, America has already characterized the United Nations, as she said there, as a Hamas supporting organization. Anyway, so lovely Morgan, she was the party poop. Don't invite her to any parties. She's just annoying. She doesn't take part in party games. She doesn't want a good time. So she got a little bit of pushback after the vote. Oh, did you see the swagger? Check the swagger. Notice the way she just I've just continued the idea of a genocide. Oh, I look nice in my red suit. What the fuck? How can you actually style this out like you're some character in a low-rent Devil Wears Prada? She literally said, I mean, let me go and get my cappuccino latte watty watty woo, mochaccino cappy latte latte. And yes, I'd love a cappy wappy woo, please. Just voted to continue a genocide. Actually, I've just voted to continue a genocide. I mean, she's just voted to continue a genocide, and she goes in. I think that's the part of it. Going back to you, Ray crew, there's the horror, there's the grisly, body meat grinding horror on the ground. And then there's the sinister administrative horror of civic buildings and people in suits and red blazers going in and getting coffees and lattes, moving through doorways and going, yes, well, of course, no. And these decisions are leading to bags of children that can't be identified. But it's all Hamas's fault. I mean, it's all Hamas's fault. I mean, how can one just keep trotting out that line? It's just something else. It's something else, guys. God almighty. Okay, well, look. So we're going to recognize Palestine today. Yippee! So nothing changes. Starmer can sort of suggest that he's done something, but he's done nothing. It would have been more meaningful, I would argue, for Starmer and Lammy and Yvette Cooper to have acknowledged the G word when the United Nations announced it just the day before Donald Trump landed in London. No? That would be more meaningful than gesture politics. There was a time when a genocide wasn't being committed in such a concentrated fashion in Gaza, where actually, and I'm thinking of a time when me and Nadia were first together, where, it would have been meaningful actually to recognize a Palestinian state, because back then it would have been part of the tessellated progress towards a two-state solution. But now, I mean, I can't think of a time in the 76, 77, 78 year history of Palestine and the oppression and the occupation. I can't think of a single time where actually the acknowledgement of a Palestinian state means less than it ever has done in any other time, because you've got a marauding monster in the form of Bibi Netanyahu in his great big nappy saying there is no two-state solution. I mean, you've literally got the leader of the nation saying there's no two-state solution. We are not having a two-state solution. So what's the point of recognizing fucking Palestine? It's crazy. It makes no sense. Okay, so let's step towards. Oh, I've forgotten to bring in a really important clip because I had to screen record it because I was sort of like negotiating something else before this. Let's go to Netanyahu. So trigger warning, trigger warning. No, yeah, trigger. No, let's go to Netanyahu at the end. Let's go to Trump. So let me just check this. I've got to check this clip here. Right, Donald Trump. Let's go to a moment. You brought it up, Mishu. Thank you so much. The press conference. Really, I think Trump's trip went without hitch, really, didn't it, to a degree, insofar as he didn't humiliate. He didn't humiliate the GIMP, Starmer. He didn't sort of make really embarrassing squeaky sounds whilst he ran his hand up and down the back of Starmer. Starmer didn't drop any papers or pick them up for him, so it wasn't too humiliating. So don't worry, Lucy, we're going to part Netanyahu towards the end, so everyone can jump into their escape pod if they need to. But let's have a little look at a moment which ties into Hamas. Everything is Hamas's fault at the press conference.
About officially recognizing Palestine for statehood. Why are you waiting for President Trump to leave the country? Why can't you just do it right now? And isn't there a risk in rewarding Hamas with that?
Well, let me be really clear about Hamas. They're a terrorist organization who can have no part in any future governance in Palestine. And what happened on October the 7th was the worst attack since the Holocaust. We have extended family in Israel. I understand firsthand the psychological impact that had across Israel. So I know exactly where I stand in relation to Hamas. Hamas, of course, don't want a two-state solution.
Hang on. What was that? Hamas don't want, don't forget, Hamas don't want a two-state solution. Neither does fucking Netanyahu. Neither does Netanyahu. He has said this. You can't sit this at one side's fucking feet. Neither does Israel. Let's just hear that again. I mean, is the man moronic? Is he so zipped up in his gimp suit he can't see the fucking news? What's wrong with this Burke? Donald Trump saying that's really good. Well done. Hamas are bad. You're saying the right words. Hamas is bad unless you're having hummus. And hummus is lovely with some tortillas. I find that they're from Mexico. So be careful. Careful what you do there.
Psychological impact.
Psychological impact. The psychological impact of you talking, Starmer, is doing my nutting. The psychological impact of your inactivity, Starmer, is just doing my nutting.
Was the worst attack since the Holocaust. We have extended family in Israel. I understand firsthand the psychological impact that had across Israel. So I know exactly where I stand in relation to Hamas. Hamas, of course, don't want a two-state solution. They don't want peace. They don't want a ceasefire. So I'm very clear where I stand on Hamas.
Yeah, but you're not very fucking clear where you stand on the genocide. Everything he's just described of Hamas can be described of Israel. Outrageous, Starmer. Outrageous. Now, of course, he couldn't stand alongside Trump and say anything else. But this is all he said. This is all he said. I'm very clear where I stand on Hamas. Every single thing he said can be applied to Netanyahu. He doesn't want a ceasefire. He doesn't want peace. He doesn't want a two-state solution. Netanyahu, I hate to fucking, piss on your parade, Starmer, doesn't want the hostages released. He just doesn't. He doesn't care. It blows your mind. What about the psychological impact on Gazans, Palestinians, West Bankians? We don't talk about the West Bank. He hasn't even sanctioned Netanyahu.
On the question of recognition, I made my position clear at the end of July as to the timing, which has got nothing to do with this state visit, and I've discussed it with the President, as you would expect amongst two leaders who respect each other and like each other and want to bring about a better solution.
And I'll tell you exactly why. Starmer is recognizing the state of Palestine because diplomatically, behind the back, in the corridors or avenues or tunnels of power, it will have been said to Donald Trump, don't worry, Trump, will recognize the state of Palestine, but it will mean absolutely nothing. That's what he will have said. It will change nothing materially on the ground at all. It will change nothing. How can you recognize a Palestinian state? You're recognizing rubble. You're recognizing two small strips of land within a tiny strip of land called the Gaza Strip. And you're recognizing land that's been bisected by settlers and territory that's been taken and sanctioned by the Israeli government and the Americans. What? I want someone to ask Starmer, when you say you will recognize the Palestinian state today, what are you recognizing? What part? I mean, in a weird way, here's the question to be asked. When you say England, the UK will recognize the state of Palestine, okay, hoisted by your own petard, what's the state you're recognizing? Draw it on a map. I want him now that someone needs to walk in there with the map of the Middle East that Netanyahu held up at the United Nations, that was a map of Greater Israel. And I want Keir Starmer to be given a Sharpie pen. And I want someone to say to him, draw the state of Palestine that we are recognizing today. Draw it. Draw it. Use your Sharpie pen and draw it. Fascinating to know. In another moment, at the press conference that kind of went well, as you say, Michu, but didn't go well for me in my heart. It didn't go well for me. I've got a dodgy ticker at the moment. It didn't do anything good for me, Michu. You know what I mean? I get you. It was good diplomatically, but it didn't do anything for me in terms of soul, in terms of my soul. But here's another interesting moment, shifting just slightly away.
Vice President Vance said that free speech is under attack in the UK. Do you agree with him? And Prime Minister, we saw the dismissal of a very well-known chat show host in America last night, Mr. Kimmel. Is free speech more under attack in Britain or America?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Oh, thanks, Donald. Yes, I think Donald's absolutely right there. I think Jimmy Kimmel is absolutely devoid of talent. So, in further news, so he said that at the press conference, and then let me just find. He then said this is a CNN report on Air Force One heading back to America. So we've moved towards the idea of Trump threatening the media. Obviously, Jimmy Kimmel's show, I know he hasn't been fired. It's been put on sort of gardening leave. It's been paused. The head of Disney, Bob Iger, sort of thought it was better to withdraw him and just pause him rather than fire him. I mean, a couple of things that are important to state, and these are important details, and this doesn't justify the decision, and it doesn't justify Disney kind of acquiescing. I've seen a couple of memes knocking about, which is really intriguing, suggesting that quite a few actors, performers, writers are refusing to work for Disney or are downing tools. The Writers Guild of America has been very strong on this, unless Disney reinstates Kimmel. So Disney finding themselves in the crosshairs here, but Bob Iger for Disney has made this decision for business reasons. I won't go into the finer details of it. There's all sorts of kind of deals that he needs the agreement of the administration to sign off on. And so that's why they acted so quickly, even though if anyone saw Jimmy Kimmel's skit that he was suspended for, I think most people even look at the skit. I mean, even Nadia, before she'd seen it, was like, yeah, but if he said something kind of, negative and almost relishing about the idea that Charlie Kirk was shot, it's like, I don't think anyone with a human heart, even though he had his views and his opinions, Charlie Kirk's, were offensive to many. No one with any, I think, shred of humanity would have recommended or thought that this was a good thing at all. And so before anyone actually saw the clip, myself included, when you saw the headlines, I woke up and saw Jimmy Kimmel fired or let go or suspended. I think what's the word they use, MeToo? There's a funny word they've used for how they've not withdrawn him, but they've rested him or something. I thought, well, he must have said something in which he indulged in and relished, and it was a bit kind of just tasteless. It was so not tasteless. It was so not tasteless what he said. No, there's a different word that Disney have used and suspended. And he was talking about how the politics are trying to make something of the shooter. And it wasn't even, so it was political. It was a political joke. It was a political joke. And so, yeah, I was kind of shocked that even the original gag wasn't that serious. If Kimmel now does a YouTube channel, he would pull away viewers of mainstream media. Jeannie Bottle, you're absolutely right. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. What's the name of the, God almighty, I always get their names mixed up. Jimmy Kimmel. What's the name of the other kind of chat show host, the big one in the evenings who does is in New York. Oh, fuck me, I can't remember his name. But look at this. This was on Air Force One. Basically, that other big chat show host didn't turn up to some do yesterday, which makes you not Colbert. No, we're going to talk about him in a minute. Jimmy Fallon. Thank you, Reese. There was some event, wasn't there, yesterday that Jimmy Fallon was expected to appear at and talk at, and he just pulled out without notice, without reason, and without explanation. So we could experience a kind of closing of the ranks amongst comedians. Oh, and that was one of the points I did want to make. For a lot of these broadcasters, for a lot of these channels, for a lot of these, corporations like Disney, etc., these chat shows are apparently year on year, they are getting fewer and fewer viewers. I mean, it's been a staple of American culture, the chat show. Is it Jimmy Carson? Carson? Yeah. For years and years and years, 65, 70 years. But they are kind of on the descendant. So there is a kind of almost business incentive to want to kind of get rid of them. But the fact that this is happening upon Trump kind of putting pressure and as a response to Trump and the Charlie Kirk shooting, Johnny Carson, thank you, is what's troubling. But let me show you this. This is an extended clip. Jimmy Kimmel to join Loose Women. Apparently, Donald Trump has already commented on they want to do something with The View too, which is obviously America's version of Loose Women. Let me just play this. This is a report by CNN, but it includes the clip from Donald Trump on Air Force One when he doubles down on really the concept of quietening and silencing critics.
Look, that's something that should be talked about for licensing too. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. They give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It will be up to Brendan Carr. I think Brendan Carr is outstanding. He's a patriot. He loves our country, and he's a tough guy. So we'll have to see.
Brendan Carr being the head of the FCC, which kind of regulates the licenses in the broadcast industry in America. So there is going, maybe we should look at their licenses. Maybe we're going to be looking at more and more comedians pulled off air, more and more people told not to criticize the system. I mean, what the fuck does this amount to? Eh? This is a close down of expression. Let's flip over to this.
To comedy. Comedy doesn't change the world, but it's a bellwether. We're the banana peel in the coal mine. When a society is under threat, comedians are the ones who get sent away first. It's just a reminder to people that democracy is under threat. Authoritarians are the threat to comedy, to art, to music, to thought, to poetry, to progress, to all those things. It's never been all that is a red herring. It ain't the pronoun police. It's the secret police. It always has been, and it always will be. And this man's decapitated visage is a reminder to all of us that what we have is fragile and precious. And the way to guard against it isn't to change how audiences think. It's to change how leaders lead.
I mean, what kind of a temperamental toddler must Trump be to not be able to deal with or roll with or ride with the everyday punches of being a leader? His ego and his sense of self must be so fragile and so vulnerable that he feels he has to close down and fire and get removed. You know, comedians, presenters get shows, you know, axed because he can't cope with a roasting. I mean, it's like someone just said in the chat room just there, you know, these kind of chat shows are all about satire. In fact, almost every guest they have on them is satirically sent up in some way. This is what they do. And years ago, Donald Trump was part of this kind of New Yorker, American sort of roasting kind of culture. I mean, it's the kind of thing you felt he could ride with, but it's gone. He's so sensitive now, isn't he? He's so fragile and easily offended. And what's so shocking is that all of these other individuals around him, the head of the FCC, you know, the broadcast, but Bob Iger at Disney has actually acquiesced and done this, you know, with each broadcaster that sort of bends their head and goes on bended knee. This is a moment for America. This is such a dark and twisted moment. And I said it yesterday when the story broke. For me, in terms of American politics, this is the most sinister, troubling, and concerning development yet, I would argue, in the Trumpian kind of playbook, because this is inadvertent. I mean, so I saw a kind of hot mic somewhere where someone in the White House was saying, our stock in trade, our product as an administration is crisis. Something I know you say a lot, Michu. Flooding the zone, crisis. Not about this presidency and Trump and his administration aren't about crisis management. They're about creating crisis. And in that crisis, things begin to fall their way for them to exploit. And by the same standard, that's where, not saying we know anything, got to be careful, we don't know anything, but that's why I think there need to be continued questions asked of the conditions and circumstances surrounding and leading to the Charlie Kirk assassination. Because I would argue that one of America's greatest allies, Israel, their kind of activities abroad, their interferences in other countries is all about, like America, like this administration, like Trump, is all about generating crisis, creating confusion, fanning the flames of discord, creating multitude kind of issues on many fronts. And as we've seen with the Gaza situation, when those crises are blowing up everywhere else, and you're right, Ray Crew, to say, you know, keep one's eyes on Gaza, one also does have to keep one's eyes on Gaza, but also does have to attend to these other fires that keep being started everywhere else, because they are all inextricably entwined. So, for example, to talk about the Epstein files is not to turn your back on Gaza. In my opinion, they are all inextricably entwined. They are all feeding into each other. The cover-up with the Epstein files is tied to an Israeli intelligence operative, and Israel is implicated in that in some way. And whilst we don't know the exact nature of what's happened in this, you know, all the issues that surround the Charlie Kirk shooting, there are enough loose ends there that necessitate rational, reasonable questioning without being characterized or thrown down the Swanee as a conspiracy theorist. One thing that the Trumpian government and the Israeli regime under Netanyahu will want everyone to do is shut up about conspiracy theories, which is why they'll say, don't be ridiculous and don't be silly. And of course, it's a conspiracy theory. And how could you say such things? So I just want to show you, pre-warning, I'm going to show you the original clip that kind of came out, I think the morning of Charlie Kirk, or the morning after Charlie Kirk's assassination.
that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous.
Why do you think Netanyahu felt the need to go on national television and expressly deny that Israel assassinated Kirk? I mean, who does that?
Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second. But I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying that.
Can you remember any time in the history of a political assassination that the leader of a foreign government has come out to deny that they were behind it? I mean,
I've never seen anything like that.
Lots of people feel it's strange. That's the best one can say. Lots of people feel it's very strange. And this in the last 24 hours or the last 36 hours, this was also posted by the biggest toddler in the Middle East. Here he is.
Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, said that the bigger the lie, the faster it will spread. Well, somebody has fabricated a monstrous big lie that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous. Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security.
Now, a lot of people, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, even, is it Nick Fuentes? What's the name of the guy? Is that his name? The sort of Groiper? A lot of them are sort of suggesting, yeah, but you're not giving us the full story, Bibi. Yeah, he was kind of a supporter of Israel, but he couldn't stand Benjamin Netanyahu. Who else okay, let's just ask, who thinks it's strange that the leader of another country, prior to the rumor mill kind of running around, who thought it was strange that he was the first, almost, in fact, was the first, to comment on Charlie Kirk's death immediately after the assassination? Does anyone feel that that was strange? And when asked the question on that morning television show, someone said, even Nadia said when she saw the footage, she said that the clear sign of a lie is someone looking down. And I also noticed that his otherwise quite rich lexicon of adjectives to describe things kind of fundamentally collapsed into absurd, ridiculous, absurd, ridiculous. We have no way of knowing for sure, but that is when a cover-up is being efficiently dictated. That's when it, I don't agree. I don't think Israel would want the world's media to focus on the possibility that they're involved in a Charlie Kirk shooting. Then Gaza, we have the bandwidth to focus on both. They're committing a genocide. They're clearing Gaza City. It's happening and it's ongoing and it's happening now. We're seeing less of it because more and more journalists have been killed. And at the same time, there's a big rumor mill happening that perhaps they're implicated in the killing of Charlie Kirk. I don't think either of those stories work well for Israel. I get what you're saying, but I don't necessarily see it as a kind of obstruction to Gaza or an eclipsing of Gaza, because TV and radio have finite airtime and they were giving very little of it already to Gaza and the literalness and the absoluteness of what is happening on the ground in Gaza. The other weird and interesting thing is, journalists haven't even tried to gain access. The Western media hasn't even tried to gain access to the more relatively open and accessible West Bank to demonstrate and show stuff. Obviously, we saw the Settlers documentary. A couple of American senators were denied access. A couple of British MPs were denied access again to the West Bank by the Israeli authorities. So I get what you're saying, that they may be interested, but I think they would be interested in any other distraction other than the possibility that they're somehow implicated in the Charlie Kirk murder. So that keeps rumbling, that keeps rolling. Thank you so much, Fight for the Week. That's very kind of you. I just want to say, Candace Owens has today posted or uploaded a short on her YouTube channel in which a new and unspoken about and unseen photograph of Tyler Robinson, the shooter, alleged shooter, has been found, has been published. It doesn't, I mean, as she goes to great lengths to say, it doesn't look like a man who's riven with fear, worry, distress, sending texts to his partner or flatmate. He's buying food in a store. So do go into it's of interest. I did mean to screen record it and play it to you. So let's just move on to the final story before my brain explodes. And the final story is Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn's Your Party. You know, this was to quote Star Wars and Princess Leia. Was it our only hope? You are our only hope. I can't remember what it was she said to R2D2. So this was, I think, in the face and in the light of an increasing far right, quite organized, the march at the weekend, the Tommy Robinson March, what everyone's feelings on it are. It was well orchestrated. It was big. It was a large gathering, though, to be brutally honest with you, that coverage and that the publication and the sort of the definition of it as large, successful and organized is very much coming from the mainstream media and the right-wing media. I would argue that nearly every conceivable Palestinian Free Palestine march has likewise been well organized, well attended, and well managed and well behaved. So it's just about who wants to talk about what, and they rarely want to talk about anything other than the right-wing media. Funny that, isn't it? General Kenobi, you're our only hope. Well, General Corbyn and Princess Sultana, you were and are our only hope with your party. And this was, you know, they got a remarkable sign up. These are the independent MPs, for anyone who's not from the UK, who have sort of pulled together as an opposition to the Conservatives, as an opposition to Labour, because they're so disenfranchised and disheartened with the Labour Party's lack of action regarding Palestine. United around Palestine, but also united around socialist principles to potentially create an alternative to reform and Labour at the next election. All of that said, you know, we signed up, everyone's interested. You didn't sign up to become a member, you signed up for notifications. 800,000 people signed up to be notified and then invited to become members. And I think they created the portal, you could sign through. And I think they'd reached 20,000, I think, something like that. And then suddenly it all went a little bit wrong. And I don't know if anyone remembers me saying about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that I have an automatic and inherent fear and worry and frustration with party politics, the official avenues of pursuing politics within our so-called democratic system. And it's usually that parties end up becoming a sort of consolidated opinion where strong opinions get watered down into whatever the consensus is of everyone. And I just had this feeling, there was just a feeling, there was a tug of war at one point. There was some issue, wasn't there, with Sultana announcing the party, Corbyn not being particularly enamored with her announcing it too soon, a little bit of a conflict there. And it would appear that a similar cause of concern has happened with the launching of the portal and getting members to pay and I'm not going to go into the rights and wrongs, and there's all sorts of, but this is classic left-wing politics. This is, and this is someone who wants this to work. I said many times, I've said it before. I remember going to Marxism 89, 90 when I was a student. A friend of mine was a member of the Marxist Party. And he was like, be careful, if you sign up, you'll be on the American list, you know, you've got to be. So I thought, okay, well, I'll go along and I'll have a listen. What struck me so markedly about Marxist politics, communist, socialist, extreme, you know, left-wing politics was there were so many little different factions within it. Everyone had a little detail that meant that they just couldn't have a beer with that person, or they couldn't talk to that person, or they couldn't, you know, it's a bit like that scene in, is it The Life of Brian, where they're sort of talking about all the various grades and differences of different kind of groups. And so I just thought, I remember thinking with this party, please, I just hope they stay united. I just hope they don't start to squabble, as someone said, and have inter-party squabbling. Well, it looks like that's already happened, but it's happened with a very strong comment from Sultana about the infighting. So Jeremy Corbyn clashes with Zara Sultana over membership portal as major split emerges in the new party. That's the headline of The Guardian, but it's a very accurate description. The ex-Labour leader says legal advice is being taken over the issue of the membership portal. Zara Sultana, meanwhile, has posted on her Instagram a very long sort of notice. There it is. It's too small probably to read. I'll leave it up just for a moment and read from it, from the report. But within it, she says this, that she's been frozen out by a sexist boys' club inside the party. Corbyn then said, after she posted this, that she had not been excluded from any discussions and she remained part of a process rooted in inclusivity and mutual respect. Head in hands, and really, I think I was listening to someone yesterday who said, you know, that first kind of issue, that first moment where there was a bit of a, should we have announced it yet? Shouldn't we have announced it yet? What's the name of it? Okay, we can forgive you one. This, I think, has destroyed the prospects. I mean, they need to come out with a huge show of united kind of support for each other and cooperation. Because for me, as soon as I saw this, it immediately made me think, well, I'm not going to sign up. I'm going to pivot back to the Greens. It's not a good sign, however much, and of course, it's an absolute gift to the Telegraph, to the Times, to the Sun, to Reform, to the Conservatives. It's a gift to the Labour Party. This is like brilliant. Look, they can't even organise themselves to agree with each other in this tiny fashion. Now, that doesn't mean to say that Zara Sultana hasn't been on the receiving end of inherent misogyny, Lucy, within the party. You know, I mean, a number of people, I mean, I remember thinking, going back to this experience of Marxism, you know, having come from a revolutionary, radical feminist household, I remember thinking how like Marxism 1990, how like being on the football terraces it was, but where no one was really chanting too much, but everyone sort of had a sort of, you know, cheap, smelly beer, and there were a lot of beards, and it was quite male. If I'm really honest, it was quite male. So it's not about disputing whether Zara Sultana is feeling what she's feeling or has felt sort of sidelined. But in a weird way, I have felt this conflict. I felt a generational difference. I felt that Zara Sultana's jumping onto stages and giving it everything and getting crowds excited and it's full of energy. And Corbyn's sort of, you know, with it sort of running his hands through his beard and his hat on, sort of still crossing the T's and dotting the I's on sub-paragraph 4 of the kind of charter that will be the, which will be the resolution 4X of something else. And so, yeah. And that's a really good point, Sharon Carter. The other point that I'd like to make is, so let's say all of these issues are real. Zara Sultana's right. Corbyn's right about something, about the portal. They've all got issues. Why didn't they do this behind closed doors? Why have they both come out publicly, unless, and I'm wondering whether this could be the case, unless really Zara Sultana's wanting to strike away from. But then we've got a split party again. They haven't even established the party. It was just, I suppose, like, the reason I wanted to talk about it was I felt this could happen. I predicted it, and I desperately didn't want it to happen. It's so messy, and I just think it's going to put so many people off. So many people are going to be like, not too sure. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, Greens, maybe. Greens, I think, you know, Greens. Just sort of rock solid-ish, aren't they? So anyway, so there you go. That's Coffee Mining. Now, guys, thank you so much again for all of your comments. There is an awful lot. Some of you know the finer details of what's going on off camera. Some of you, most of you don't know the finer details. You know the kind of broad brush strokes. It's deeply difficult. It's incredibly time consuming. It's very stressful. It's incredibly destabilizing and exhausting. But we're managing stuff off camera a lot and you know, dealing with family shit and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, so bear with us, because, you know, things like, you know, edited kind of home times, Greenfield Hells, they're all in the system. They're all waiting to go. But really, it's just about getting the, and, you know, we like to do them nicely for you and I'd like to do them well. So they're all coming. I'd shot a movie review a couple of days ago. We dropped that on the channel last night. Go and check it out. The Long Walk. Interesting Stephen King film. So, you know, all of that other content's coming. You know, we will be doing a sort of another Sunday show. So I know you're very supportive and you're very understanding, but, you know, just know that it's as good for us as it is hopefully for you when we drop stuff, and we're getting to it. So thank you anyway for all of your support and all of your comments. And really, like, you know, this live, I didn't want to do it at first. There was a lot going on. We had to deal with a lot of things emotionally as well. But you've really helped. So thank you so much. And forgive me for kind of going absolutely nuts. And another happy birthday to all of you birthday. It was Jill Taylor, Louise, Alison, and I think Nikki wasn't there as well. But anyway, guys, have a lovely day. And Curly Cooks tomorrow, Saturday morning, papers, not the papers, but you know what I mean. All right, lots of love. Take